Hello and welcome back to Dylan and Ross Save Sports. I am, as always, Dylan Sanders. You can find me on Twitter at Dilly Sanders. Joining me today, as always, is Ross Jackson, who you can find on Twitter at Ross Jackson ASC. No, it's Nola.
Oh, the old Twitter handle makes its comeback.
Yep. Hi, Ross. How you doing?
Hey, buddy. Doing good. I'm excited about today's show.
I am as well for a couple reasons. All right, we're gonna talk about some stuff, and then we're gonna talk about some other stuff, and then we're gonna have someone talk to us about stuff, and I'm really excited about it.
Wow.
Why don't you talk about so we're gonna get into some stuff. We're gonna talk some Roy Williams. We're gonna talk some baseball. To start, we have a game that we're gonna play where we have each found some real or fake headlines, and the other person has to guess whether or not it's real or fake.
Yep, I'm very much looking forward to that. That is, of course, in honor of April 1st, April Fool's Day.
Yes, in honor of April Fool's Day. To test, we got to test our knowledge, see what's gonna happen, see if we can figure out what. And this is just stuff that's happened. We got to figure out whether or not it's like we got to test ourselves, Ross, because we can't trust anything today. So we got to see if we've learned or not, if we've learned what we can or cannot trust.
Can't trust anything. Can't trust Michael Strahan.
Well, he hasn't come out and said it was fake yet, but
yes.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, about an hour ago, he posted on his Twitter account. He had a mask on, and he was talking blah, 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 and he pulled the mask down. Gap.
Dang.
Pissed.
I'm
not pissed because he got rid of the gap or because he didn't get rid of the gap, because like that's who Michael Strahan is. Like, why would you get rid of that? But unless he wanted to, and that's great. Pissed because he lied. Most trustworthy person in television.
Is he?
Liar. Absolute liar now.
Some call him the Abraham Lincoln.
Some would call him the Abraham Lincoln of TV.
Yes, DVD. All right, Ross. Well, let's get into something because it is April Fool's Day after all. Favorite thing from Twitter, Ross?
Oh, I think we have the same thing, don't we?
No, I don't think we do, Ross.
Oh, okay. Well, then
my favorite thing. Wait, you go first. You go first because mine is something that we're gonna have to get into and we're gonna have to dissect.
Okay, dope.
Because it is not a positive thing.
Oh.
Or maybe it is. It's April Fool's Day. Who knows?
All right. So then I'm gonna share my screen then. And then we're going to watch/listen to Mina Kimes, who we're big fans of, end up getting a little punked here by one Adam Schefter. Have you seen this?
No, I saw Adam Schefter's tweet.
Okay, here we go. Full context. Have fun. Enjoy.
Yeah. You forgot to share sound again.
I always do that. Why am I worthless?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's just it's such pain. Such pain. All right, here we go. Now we got it. Now we're cooking.
Adam Schefter is texting me.
We are gonna need a new A block.
New A1.
Sorry, A1. Roy
I'm sorry.
Williams.
Is he leaving? What does the text
Williams.
say?
Oh my God.
Mina.
I'm getting the ... from Adam Schefter.
Oh
He's
boy,
leaving?
at Mina Kimes is not going to be happy today. ...
What? Schefter tweeted that? Mina tweeted, Adam, please call me.
Wait, can you call him? Call Adam Schefter right now.
Call
him
Call him right
speaker.
now.
Please, on speaker.
Call him right now on speaker. Mina, please. Oh my God, I hope he picks up.
Have you heard?
Adam, I'm on highly questionable right now. I'm about to have a meltdown.
Have you heard the news?
What news?
You have not heard about what's happening today.
What is happening, Adam?
The Seattle Seahawks, okay? The Seattle Seahawks are busy getting ready for the draft this month.
Literally, I'm calling HR on you. I'm calling HR on you. I'm calling HR on you, Adam Schefter. I just aged. I hate you so much. I love you so much.
And Katie for putting me up last night. This was all they're doing.
So uncaring. You think your colleagues like you?
Those are your colleagues looking out for you.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, Adam.
That's good.
That's great stuff. Big fan. We are big Mina Khan fans. We're also big Katie Nolan fans. So
yes, and Pablo Torre and Adam Schefter.
Actually. Right, and Adam Schefter. Sure.
So yeah. But let's move on to a different side of ESPN, Ross.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's a crazy thing today. No one contradicted themselves in defending Mac Jones today, Ross.
Oh, no one did?
April Fool's. Gotcha. April Fool's. Gotcha, Ross. All right, let's take a look at this clip. This clip has been on my mind all day.
My quarterback's running down on kickoff, then I care about the 40. But I don't think that's going to be a likely possibility for a guy that's drafted 3rd overall. I go Mac Jones as well, Boog. I completely agree with you. Watch the tape. Watch the tape. Everyone's, what about the Clemson game? Yeah, the Clemson game was fantastic for Justin Fields, but that was the one time I thought he played like the 3rd overall pick last year. If you look at the game against Northwestern, the game against Indiana, he was slow to process, he was inaccurate, he forced the ball, and he did not respond to adversity.
All right, so what did he just say about Justin Fields?
What did he? Oh, about how he didn't respond to adversity?
Yeah, how he only had one. He only had one time in his career where he showed that he could face adversity, Ross.
And
that's a negative, right?
Right.
To him, he only had to face adversity. He only showed that he could face adversity one time.
Right? Single time.
I look at Mac Jones. All right, Mac Jones had adversity one time in his college career, and it was on the road in his 3rd career start against the Auburn Tigers.
Wait a minute.
That's a difficult rivalry.
Wait a minute. Wait a second.
Play in Boog. You've never played in a rivalry like that. That's a difficult game, Alabama and Auburn. On the road in Jordan-Hare, he throws 2 pick sixes. Yeah, that's a difficult thing to overcome as a quarterback mentally. But what did Mac Jones do in his 3rd career start? He bounced back from those bad decisions, and he gave his team a chance to win at the very end. He handled adversity. That's something I haven't seen from Justin Fields at any point in his 2 seasons as a starter at Ohio State. So if you look at the tape and you really break down every single thing, you watch the tape. Watch the tape. Everyone's, what about the Clemson game? Yeah, the Clemson game was fantastic for Justin Fields, but that was the one time I thought he handled adversity. That's something I haven't seen from Justin Fields at any point.
He took It took him 30 seconds, Ross. It took him 30 seconds.
That's incredible.
I can't even be mad at McElroy for this because of how insane it is that aired, that he said that on ESPN.
Wow. That is, oh my goodness. That's equal parts astounding and infuriating.
Yep.
My goodness. And he literally said the exact same phrases.
He literally said the same thing.
Justin Fields has only faced adversity in his career one time. And then turned around and said, Mac Jones faced adversity in his career one time. And then how did he handle it? It was great. And all of a sudden,
listen. Okay, but listen, Ross. Justin Fields was slow to process, inaccurate. But of course he led his team to the national championship game and and beat Clemson. But Ross, all Mac Jones did was throw 2 pick sixes.
Oh, geez. That's incredible. That has to be an April Fool's joke from ESPN. Has to be.
Well, man, the draft coverage this year has been somewhat of an every day of the week joke.
Yeah, for real. Oh my goodness.
And I will say, Ross, Todd McShay released his mock draft 4.0 today.
Mm-hmm.
Mac Jones is 3rd overall.
Number 2.
Justin Fields not in the top 10.
Jesus.
Let me tell you. Let me look. I'm looking direct. I'm getting close. I'm looking directly in the Carolina Panthers right here. Please take Trey Lance over Justin Fields. I'm begging you. Right?
Oh man.
If Justin Fields goes to the Panthers, it'll be similar to Cam Newton. I'll still root for him. I'll root for him.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Any day of the week.
1000%.
I'll root for Justin Fields. I cannot tell you how badly I want Justin Fields to succeed in the NFL.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
I completely agree. Man, that's insane.
Because these people, day in and day out, can say he doesn't show the drive. He doesn't show that he wants to play football. But they ignore the fact that Big Ten does not have a season if it's not for Justin Fields wanting to play football.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's a really good point.
He stood up and was like, "Hey, listen, I want to play football. Me and my guys want to play football. Let's play football."
Right.
But they'll go and say that Trevor Lawrence stood up to the ACC, so he showed that he wanted to play football.
Right.
But we won't talk about Justin Fields doing the same exact thing.
Oh, man. Listen, I have had an emotionally taxing 48 hours, and this only adds to it in a way. You know what I mean? It's so wild to me. It's so wild.
I won't show it now, but I'll send you a clip. Do you know who JT O'Sullivan is?
Mm-mm.
He's a guy on Twitter. He does like a quarterback school, and he had a big old rant going after people about the same exact thing. And you should go listen to it. Everyone should go listen to it. But yeah, we won't share it right now. But go listen to it. It's awesome. JT O'Sullivan. By the way, Ross, if you want to spend an hour listening to someone talk about a single passing concept and still learn and make you feel inferior, make you feel like you don't know anything about the sport of football, go watch a JT O'Sullivan video.
Followed.
Yeah, JT O'Sullivan, so he's a high school football coach, and he's an overall good dude. And everyone shout him out.
He's here in California.
I want to get JT. Let's get JT O'Sullivan on the show. Let's try and get him on the show. I like him a lot.
Let's do it. I'm all about it.
All right.
Awesome. That's awesome.
So, yeah. What do you want to do? Let's talk about Roy Williams, Ross.
Let's talk about Roy Williams. Roy Williams has officially retired. One of his big quotes, he announced his retirement after 33 years of coaching over at UNC. No one has ever enjoyed coaching like I have, he said. And he also went on to say that he didn't feel like he was he didn't feel like he had enough left to coach anymore. So it was basically like the only thing that would have kept him from continuing to coach for another, however long he could, was like health. And then that one thing, I no longer feel that I'm the right man by the job. Says that it's the only, this is per Brendan Marks, says that it's the only thing outside of health that could have expedited his departure is the fact that he doesn't feel like he's the right man for the job anymore. And so he has stepped away after 33 years. And now the big question is, and obviously not just 33 years in an extraordinarily successful career. Mm-hmm. An extraordinarily successful coaching career. Now the question is, who will take over for Roy Williams? What a big time pair of shoes to fill in UNC's college basketball program.
Big time.
The odds on favorite right now is Hubert Davis. And then there's Wes Miller, and then there's Jerry Stackhouse. Those are the top three. Mm-hmm. The longest shots are both Michael Jordan and Vince Carter.
If Michael Jordan's... I would maybe believe Vince Carter.
Well, you might want to go put down a little bit of money on Vince Carter, because right now Vince Carter is plus 50,000.
Oh, never mind that. I didn't know how serious.
Really, oh yeah, it's a big time split between Hubert Davis at plus 100, Jerry Stackhouse at plus 600, Vince Carter at plus 50,000. Mm-hmm. Hubert Davis is probably who it's going to be. Hubert Davis seems like that's exactly where this is heading. Old Hubie.
Hubie Dave.
Hubie Dave. Like I just googled like Hubert Davis, and like everything is, who will succeed? Roy Williams, 10 names to watch. He's on all these lists. So it seems like that's going to be the most likely situation, at least at the moment.
Mm-hmm. All right. So far, let's talk a little bit of baseball, Ross, before we get into our game. Mm-hmm. So far today, we've had one game, and Sarah got her wish as the Toronto Blue Jays take down the New York Yankees in extra innings.
That's right. Big game by the Blue Jays, and you're right. Sarah really got what she asked for there. So it ended up being a 3-2. Ended up going to 10 innings in this one, and the Blue Jays going up 3-2 at the top of the 10th, and then good pitching going up against the New York Yankees to close it out.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right. And then other than that, today we got the Twins beating the Brewers right now 5-2 in the 7th inning. The Pirates beating the Cubs 4-2 in the top of the 7th inning. The Cardinals 7-3 and this is of course the first regular season game with Nolan Arenado as a Cardinal,
right?
And he already has an RBI.
I was saying he's already gotten something on there.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Nolan Arenado. All right, Ross, do you want to play our game?
I'm surprised you didn't mention that the Dodgers are down to the Rockies 1-2 at the top of the 4th.
Oh, that's not surprising.
Perfect. Yes, let's play our game. Let's do it.
All right. So we have some fake news headlines we're gonna go through. We don't know how many we're gonna get through, Ross, but I will let you have this one. I'll let you go.
All right. I'll start off with one. So basically the idea here is that we're going to read off some headlines, and then the other has to decide, is it real or is it an April Fool's joke? Basically is the idea.
Yeah.
So the Golden State Warriors once canceled a practice. Excuse me, Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors once canceled a practice because it was following Steph Curry's 30th birthday and the team was too hungover.
Oh, I believe that 100%.
That is absolutely true. That is an actual thing that happened.
It was amazing.
And not only was it the team, but there were also social media videos that came out of Steve Kerr dancing drunkenly as well. So it was equally the coach in addition to the team in the middle of the season. Good for them.
Good for them. I like that. Okay. Wait, sorry. I was looking through which one I wanted to do. USC cornerback one time. They had a cornerback, Josh Shaw, who broke both of his ankles, and he did it to save his drowning nephew.
Oh,
true or false?
False.
It was false. He lied. He lied of it. He lied about. He lied about it. He lied about saying. I don't know. We don't know what happened, but he definitely lied about saving. He lied about saving his nephew from drowning.
That's wild. Not only did he break both of his ankles, but he lied about it. That's wild. Like, not only is that story not true, but he also lied. That's crazy. I don't know how to pronounce this last name, but I'm gonna try. Mm-hmm. I think it's Cogliano. Andrew Cogliano of the Anaheim Ducks once started and played in 830 consecutive games. The streak was broken because he was suspended for 2 games for a public indecency charge that happened outside of the Anaheim Ducks facility.
Is that true?
It's false.
Oh.
It's false. He did start 830 games consecutive, or did appear in 830 consecutive games, and he did serve a 2-game suspension, and that is how his streak came to an end. But it was because of a hit on a Los Angeles Kings player. So he would miss those 2 games, and then he would go on to not miss another game for the rest of that season and most of the season afterwards. So that streak could have been much longer.
All right, Ross, stepping away from the sports world.
Okay.
The police in Germany had to rescue a man being chased by a baby squirrel.
In Germany?
In Germany, yes.
That's 1,000% true.
Yeah, it is. And do you want to know how the chase ended? You want to know how the chase ended? The baby squirrel got tired and fell asleep. Curled up into a little ball.
No.
Yeah.
No. I don't think I've ever seen a sleeping squirrel, now that I think about it.
They don't sleep, it's a lie.
That's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
That's hilarious. I'm going to see if I can find one. Let me see if I can pull one of my ones that is not. Oh yes, okay. I have a whole Prince section of questions. Prince the artist, or the artist formerly known as. Not only did Prince used to go door to door for the Jehovah's Witness. One time, he knocked on the door of a Jewish family in Minnesota, which is, of course, where he was from. And a member of the family basically explained, saying that he came to a Jewish household, asked what they were interested in, told Prince that he wasn't interested, and Prince simply said, "Can I just finish?" And went on to basically read scriptures about the Jewish and the land of Israel.
If I just can't believe I have to believe all Prince stories are real
because they're so outlandish, right?
Yes, yeah.
This is very true. This is very true. He pulled out, according to the family, he pulled out a little Bible and literally just sat there and read scriptures about being Jewish in the land of Israel. And apparently this happened on Yom Kippur. So there you go. Prince, everybody. Prince.
Yeah, that's good. So in the 70s, Ross, 2 New York Yankees pitchers traded families. They were close, and they just decided, you know what? Let's play a little game of wife swap, and we're like, hey, let's have some fun. Let's trade families for a week.
So these are 2 Yankees players?
Yes, on the same team.
At what point in time?
The 70s.
The 70s. Oh, this is true.
Yeah, no, this is 100% true. In the 70s,
this is true.
The 4 were close and often spent time together until one day one of them must have joked, in that way that everyone knows it isn't a joke. We should just trade lives. And 3 other adult human beings all decided that it was a great idea. There was someone who got fleeced in the trade because the trade caused the end of one relationship, and the other one went on happily ever after.
That's amazing.
It's insane.
The
70s are a weird time, dude.
70s were a very weird time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. one time, a Canadian man flew 14,000 miles in the wrong direction after boarding the wrong flight to Antarctica.
False.
I'm double checking something.
Uh-oh.
It is false.
Okay. Oof.
I wanted to make sure I didn't screw up something. I wanted to
Right.
be very, very clear about what was considered the Arctic versus what was considered Antarctica. So I just wanted to make sure that I didn't do something wrong there. But you're right. It was false. It was a man that actually boarded the wrong flight to the Arctic instead.
All right. And then lastly, Ross, the last round. In the 90s, an elderly woman in Essex, London, trained 65 house cats to steal from her neighbors.
False. It was 70.
False. It just didn't happen. But think about how fun that would
be. Somebody is going, you know what? That's definitely something that I can do.
That's hilarious.
That's something that
that's
I can
great.
do. I love it. All right. We'll go ahead and jump to our break. When we come back, we're going to be joined by the absolutely incredible Amanda Smith, host of the How She Did It podcast, to talk a little bit about her show, what she's done, what she's doing, which she'll continue to do, and looking ahead to the women's Final Four in the NCAA tournament. We have all that coming up for you here in just a moment on today's episode. Dylan Ross, Say Sports, Full Press Coverage, Full Press Radio Network. All right.
Boom.
She's here.
Hey.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Fine.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. Hi, guys. How's it going?
Hello.
Hi.
It's going good.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Yes.
Amanda, Dylan, Amanda.
Hello.
I've never gotten that right the first time, so I'm very glad that actually worked out.
You are.
Guys, thank you so much for wanting to have me be a part of your show.
Oh my goodness, of course.
Yes.
We will talk all about it once we go. So we're still live at the moment on Twitter, but in terms of video and everything, but we're on break over on the audio side. But I will sing your praises to the rooftop once we come back to the full show and everything. But thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
As he does frequently.
Stop it. Stop.
I can't. I couldn't. But thanks for taking the time. We really appreciate it.
Literally anytime. I was like so excited you asked me. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, of course.
Awesome. When we jump back in, we'll talk a little bit. I want to talk about the show. And 1 and 5 too. And all the work that you're doing there. And then we'll talk women's Final Four, if that's all right.
Oh yeah.
We are both very excited about the upcoming Ari McDonald and Paige Beckers and UConn and Arizona. It's all too good to be true.
Right? Like right? Oh my god. Talk about just like great games.
Yeah.
The future GOAT, Paige Beckers.
Dylan has been following very closely the lifelong friendship of Paige Beckers and Jalen Suggs.
Oh, you have?
Yes,
well.
It's great. It's great. I'm a huge fan of both of them now because of it.
That's so funny. I love that.
I didn't know how close of friends they were. Have you? Yeah.
And it's like, imagine just being like two of the best athletes at your respective schools and you like go way back. You're like, you're just casual friends.
That's actually exactly how Dylan and I met. We were the best athletes at our respective schools.
Yeah.
1,000%. 1,000%.
Was held back a couple years.
Yes. Yeah. Quite a bit. Actually. They tell me it was because of my grades, but I know it was because of my athlete skills.
I am currently the best basketball player enrolled at LSU. So
Okay.
I just my knee is hurting, so I couldn't play on the team.
Right.
But I'm good.
Out with injury.
Always the case.
Yeah.
Always the case. Oh, I love it. All right, y'all. We're back in 5 seconds here. 2, 1. All right, everybody, we are back. Dylan and Ross A Sports here. Full press coverage, Full Press Radio Network. We are joined by our very, very special guest, somebody we have been very excited to have come here and join us on the show, the one, the only Amanda Smith. You can follow on Twitter @_It's Amanda Smith. Amanda is the host of the How She Did It podcast and also works with the 1 in 5 podcast as well. You can catch her Pac-12 network, ESPN 700 as a women's basketball analyst. And I'm just so excited for you to be here with us, Amanda, all of your incredible work. We'll talk about all of it. But first and foremost, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for asking and for asking me to be a part of the show. I was literally so excited when you reached out. So this is such a treat.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's not a problem at all. We appreciate you very much taking the time. Before we get into the very exciting matchups that we have with the Final Four for women's NCAA tournament coming up, I wanted to talk a little bit about your show. As you know, I'm a humongous fan of How She Did It. Can you tell us a little bit about the podcast and what you do? Because I think it's so incredibly special.
Well, first off, Ross, thank you so much for continually championing like women and my podcast. It means so much. But yeah, How She Did It, it's kind of crazy. I never anticipated that it would be what it is today. I've almost been doing it like, I guess, 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah.
With now a podcast started first as a YouTube show. That I used to record in my closet. Right? Like crazy to think back on. But the sole purpose for me is to share and celebrate the stories of women working in and within the sports industry. And to celebrate not necessarily where they are now, but the steps that they've taken to get there.
Which I think is such an important piece of what you're doing here. In terms of there's something really important and poignant in the idea of not necessarily celebrating the end product or where somebody is right now, right? In terms of talking about how they got there.
Yeah. Well, and I think that it's really easy, like in our day-to-day lives, and something that I struggle with too, is like that reflection of celebrating those little moments and accomplishments that, you know, a couple of years ago, I never anticipated I'd be doing the things I am today. And so while I and maybe people I have on my show are still on that ladder, like celebrating the climb and lifting each other up as we continue to rise.
Absolutely.
I want to give a personal shout out to the Julia
please.
Morales episode because I love Julia Morales so much.
She is so fun. I actually sent her, so I don't know if you know, she has like a bobblehead collection. I actually sent her a bobblehead after the show because I like randomly had this Mike Conley bobblehead. And I was like, I am going to send this to Julia. So Mike Conley's a part of now.
I'm an Astros fan, so I watch, like, she's the best part of all of the broadcasts every time. So yeah, no, that was a great episode. And of course, there's a bunch of other great ones that everyone should listen to.
Yeah, and I like, if I can just say really quickly, whether, you know, it's someone who is working at a network that you maybe watch or someone who is still kind of taking those steps to get to their end goal, quote unquote. I think that not just in sports, but in any job, you can kind of relate to those feelings. And I really have just loved having this community where we can like come be super honest, talk about the things that you don't always see on social media, and the grind that it's taken for people to get where they are. Yeah.
It's really, really incredible stuff. And I talk about it all the time because I think that you have such a really, the environment that you create allows people to share very, very well. There's a mutual respect immediately. There's a trust between the two parties and everything. Do you have a specific theory or philosophy when it comes to interviewing and essentially allowing these people to have a space where they can open up and be a little bit vulnerable and share true stories like this?
Yeah. And I know we're going to talk NCAA women's basketball in a little bit, but something I will share is that Tara Vanderveer, Stanford's head coach, she was on my podcast. Wait, what? Crazy.
I know, right?
What? Anyways, I remember so specifically something that she talked about that has stuck with me, and I think can stick with people in whatever job they have in communicating.
Mm-hmm.
Is she talked about coaching and how personal it is and how it's individualized. And she told this story about the very first team she coached. Her sister was on the team, and she would go home, after practice, and her parents would say, "How did Marie do? What did Marie do?" Asking about her sister. And she said, like, I realized very early on that every person on that team is someone's daughter, someone's sister, someone's friend, someone's cousin, the list goes on and on. And I think I've tried to take that same approach when it comes to interviewing and communicating, because I feel this immense responsibility that someone who I may not have ever talked to has trusted me to ask them questions that can sometimes be very personal.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know who's listening to my words. Right. I don't know. And they carry weight, and being very aware of that. Because everyone on my show is someone's friend, someone's sister, someone's daughter, whoever it may be. To the common person, maybe they're so-and-so the reporter, so-and-so the athlete, but to like mom and dad, that's my kid.
Right.
That's my wife. That's my partner, And so I've just tried to make it this space that is individualized to each person. Because I don't think, like I was just saying, like Tara talked about in coaching, it's not going to look the same for every person, because everyone has a different way in which they open up, and it's about finding what makes them comfortable.
That's great. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing everything going on with the show. The newest episode is out right now, which is with Kirsten Watson, which is an amazing episode. One of the folks, one of the hosts for Los Angeles Dodgers, work with Sportsnet. Really, really incredible stuff. So go and check it out. You can find it on iTunes. I guess it's Apple Podcasts. Sorry, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere that you get your podcast and such. The How She Did It podcast. We'll talk a little bit about 1 and 5 in a moment, but I want to talk to you a bit about the Final Four as we have coming up, if that's okay. You just mentioned Stanford coach who you had on the show. Stanford right now favored -5.5 in their matchup against South Carolina. These are two incredible teams with a lot of talent. What sort of feels like, I look at this and I think Stanford all the way, but what does South Carolina have to do to be able to pull out an upset in this situation?
Well, I think that what we saw in the Louisville game, specifically in the first half, granted, I think Stanford's offense was a little off. Kiana Williams kind of admitted that after the game, that she was forcing some things. That being said, they really struggled from the 3-point line in the first half, and you saw Louisville take the lead. I think the same thing goes for South Carolina. They have a phenomenal defense, and obviously one of the best coaches in the country, and one of the most respected in the game of basketball in Dawn Staley. So I think keeping Stanford off the 3-point line as much as they can, because they're going to get those shots.
They'll get them.
I think, oftentimes when we talk about what teams are really good at, like, some players are going to go out and get theirs. Like, that's just going to happen. But like limiting those touches to the best of your ability. And then also I think Stanford really struggled at the rim in the first half in that Louisville game. I wish that there was I was trying to find some advanced stats on how many shots they missed at the rim, because while they weren't getting those shots from the outside, they were getting touches inside, but just missing those. So I think for South Carolina, it comes down to those defensive rotations, something that they're incredibly good at. But gosh, I just love the storylines of all of this, right? Like kind of Kiana Williams, a chance to win a championship in her hometown. Like the fact that Dawn Staley was on the 1996, gold medal Olympic team, coached by who? Tara Vanderveer. It's so cool. And if you're a fan of basketball, you want to see a good game, that's what you're going to see. These are elite level athletes playing for a chance at a title.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's gonna be fun. I gotta, listen, don't count out South Carolina, Ross.
I know. I love Stanford's brand of game so much. I compare, they're like watching the Chicago Sky for me. because they can just rain when it's on, and I love that brand of play. And so I get very excited about Stanford. That's all.
Like, and I will say, like, working in the Pac-12 conference and getting to see, Stanford multiple different times, it's like there's not one player on their team where if you take them out of the game, a couple players, you take them out of the game, you're good. It's like they go 7, 8,
Right.
9. Like, every single person on their roster can score, can defend, can do those things that you want to limit. And I think that's what makes them so dangerous. So yeah, it's going to be a battle, but it's sure going to be a fun one.
Yeah. Do you feel that, I mean, South Carolina, one of the biggest stories for them so far throughout the tournament has been their defense. Do you think that this is the defense that can like, is this the perfect matchup right now for them or for Stanford?
Okay, well, like, selfishly, as like a Pac-12 person currently, give me Stanford and Arizona championship. Are you kidding me? Like, oh my gosh, that would be a dream. But I think it's going to come down to the fourth quarter of the game. Like, I see this being a very close game throughout, because both teams are so competitive and can score, can defend. When you're on, you're on. And we saw, like, in the first half of the Stanford Louisville game, granted they came back down 12 to win, but like, we saw them struggling in that first half. So I think it's really going to come down to, like, obviously each game, who can finish, but like who can, like, do those extra things, rebounds, offensive turnovers, all of the statistics that you look back at a game and you say, like, oh, that's why that happened.
I mean,
what do you think? So do you have, like, your championship picked out here?
Me?
Yeah, Ross.
Oh, I'm UConn all the way. I'm so sorry to not pick a Pac-12 team.
Listen,
but I'm UConn all the way.
The thing about sports is, like, as you become a fan of, like, the players and their story, and you want to see everyone win, but, like, someone has to lose, and that's sports. That's the game.
I will play devil's advocate for South Carolina and look specifically at their last game and why I think they might be able to hold off Stanford a little bit. Okay. Texas, their team, they have Charlie Collier on the inside, number 1 overall pick in the draft. Averaging, mine is in the washer right now. I'm upset. They are averaging, they average what? I think 68 points per game this season. And I don't know if you saw, Ross, but they scored they scored exactly half of that in this game, averaging about 33% from 3. They were held to 20% by South Carolina.
Wow.
The defense really, they were out rebounded by 13. And they average around almost 40 rebounds per game. So it's just, I don't know. I think South Carolina can at least maybe. I think South Carolina's gonna be like Houston in the men's tournament. Like they'll be able to maybe smother Stanford and hold them scoring.
All right. Well, that nearly sold me. Dylan. I don't know. I'm such a big fan of what Stanford does, but that's why I said, like, look, the story about South Carolina has been their defense. If the defense shows up, it can be their game.
I mean, I obviously, like, as a Pac-12 person, Stanford continue, but like I said earlier, like, for me, it comes down to, like, the success of the players and what's done, even to, like, be in this tournament. That's incredible. And I guess as we're kind of talking about that, like, on the other side, when we look at Arizona, UConn, what Adia Barnes has done at Arizona, in a blink, it's, like, unheard of. And I actually was reading that, like, the last time that UConn and Arizona played was when Adia was on the team back in 1998, lost in the Sweet 16.
Wow.
Them. So like there's so many good stories out of this tournament, right? And then you have like Paige Beckers, like
Page buckets. Page buckets.
She's got a fan in Dylan.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Future GOAT AP Player of the Year, first ever win it as a freshman.
Right.
Unheard of, like
Remarkable.
it's remarkable. And I think, overall, if I can just say really quickly, it's incredible to see 2 Black women coaching for the very first time in the Final Four, 3 women, 3 Hall of Fame coaches, 2 of the winningest programs in women's college basketball history playing. So kind of like I said earlier, like if you like basketball, you will be watching these games.
Absolutely.
Gonna be
If
incredible.
you don't watch them, you lie when you say you like basketball. Like
Yeah. There's not much you could want out of 2 games of basketball in a night.
honestly,
Right. You have
Yeah.
you have everything you need here. You've got superstars, you've got great defense, you've got amazing storylines and amazing people.
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
Period. And I gotta say, I'm glad they kept COVID testing.
Oh, goodness gracious. That whole situation. Amanda, we've got about 10 minutes left in the show. I want to make sure that we're cognizant of your time. Are you okay to actually continue to hang out with us for a little bit?
Yeah, let's do it.
Are you good? Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. I appreciate it.
Hang
Because I
out
want to
now. One invite. I'm like logging in.
yeah, come through anytime. Dylan, I want to make sure we get an opportunity here because Dylan is such a big fan of this matchup. He mentioned his fanhood for Paige Buckets. We're also big Arie McDonald fans. So, Dylan, what questions do you have about Arizona, Connecticut here? Because this is going to be a phenomenal matchup. Connecticut, by the way, favored minus 13.5 at the moment.
Yeah, that's gonna be trouble. So, where does Arizona hold the best chance of outscoring UConn?
On the defensive end. I mean, throughout the tournament, they're allowing just 51 points per game. And then you have the co-defensive player of the year in Arie McDonald's on Arizona. The other, Anna Wilson on Stanford. So 2 of the best defenders in the conference playing in this Final Four. That being said, specifically to answer your question and go back to it about Arizona's best chance, I also think being like looking at that minus 13.5, they have like believed in each other all year long. And they're like, no one expected us to make it to the Sweet 16, to the Elite 8, to the Final Four. Like, we're just going to keep doing our thing. And I think that that's one of the aspects of Arizona's team that I find so admirable is they're like a family. And Adia has really done a fantastic job of bringing like that sort of camaraderie of you watch their bench and it's crazy, right? They're like up cheering, high-fiving, I don't know, throwing up goggles sometimes. But I think that for them, when you look at a team like UConn that obviously has one of the best players in the country and incredible talent, a future WNBA pick in Avina Westbrook. You have to find ways to kind of, like I mentioned earlier, limit those touches because Paige is going to come out and she's going to score. That's going to happen. But what can you do to maybe take her out of her typical offensive rhythm? And I think that that's what Arizona does, is they force you to make those offensive moves that you don't necessarily want to.
I dig it. I'm so excited for this matchup. I am more than willing to take Arizona at minus 13.5 with their defense.
Plus 13.5.
Or plus 13.5. Excuse me. Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Yeah,
Plus
I said
13.5 as the underdog.
No,
That's
it's all, you're all good. You're all good.
I am more than happy to take that because I do think that their defense will be able to stand up. And I know that there was a scare with Arie McDonald in the last game in their win, but it seems that everything is. I mean, I'm kind of operating under the no news is good news presumption here, but I assume all is well. I
have not heard otherwise. Kind of like you. No news is good news in this situation. but I know that if there's any way that she can be on the court, she will be on the court. Like if there's anything she can do to be out there, she will be. Because this is her team.
Mm-hmm.
Like she has been there from the very beginning, and watched the progression of what this Wildcats team has developed into in the like such a short period of time. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I love like after the game the other day, she said like, I'm a dog.
Right.
And China Robinson, the reporter, said like, yeah, you're on the Wildcats, but you're a dog. My favorite moments. A cat that's a dog, but
Yeah.
she's so fast, and I think that that's what makes her stand out defensively, is because when we talk about defense, I don't always know that you think of defensive players that are such offensive threats. Where we talk about defense creating offense, well, her defense creates her offense.
Yeah.
Because Arizona likes to get out and push the ball in transition. So it'll be a good one, right? Like,
Yeah.
Can't wait.
UConn's going to come to play.
For sure.
And it'll be disrupting their offense and what they're good at. And I think that Arizona's defense can be successful in that way.
So come Sunday, April 4th, who's cutting down the net?
Don't do that to me.
Come on. Who's doing it?
Don't do that to me.
Is it a Pac-12 school? I'll go with that.
I hope so.
Perfect.
There we go. There we go.
Amanda, before we let you get out of here, thank you so much I asked you for like 15-20 minutes of your time, but it's been so enjoyable.
Yeah,
and I thank you so much
to talk a lot.
No, it's all good. I love it. So I really appreciate you giving us some extra time here. I want to ask your pinned tweet on your on your Twitter has you in a Rockets jersey. So I have to ask what the connection to if you have a favorite Rocket by any chance. I know what the jersey is, but do you happen to have a favorite Rocket? Because Dylan here is a big time Rockets fan.
I don't have a favorite Rocket.
Okay.
I'll just say that. Like when you played on those, recreational teams, and that picture, I'm like, it's so awkward. Just like this oversized, huge ball. I got so many messages saying I look like Matilda from.
I said that exact thing, I think, on this show.
I love it. Well, it was a great celebration of National Girls and Women in Sports Day. We just came out of National Women's Month and everything as well, and so I have loved all of the awareness and sharing that has been going on. Both honestly in terms of the celebration of the presence, and then also raising the awareness of the lack of safety, raising the awareness of the tribulation that comes with it. So very much appreciate you and all the work that you're doing to help further, it's such a tough thing to try to navigate because I'm in the midst of so much emotional labor over the last couple of days personally with the Derek Chauvin trial and all these other things that are happening. But it's such an important time and you are here and I so appreciate you for it.
I appreciate you saying that. And I think like at the end of the day, we're people first. And when we lead with that kind of genuineness, it allows us to feel empathy for other people, and when you start to listen to experiences from other people that you may not have before, you learn a lot. So I would just continue to encourage people to do that and to have those uncomfortable moments and conversations sometimes.
Thank you, Amanda. Do you have anything else, Dylan?
Well, I would ask Dylan who his favorite Rocket is.
Yeah, there we go.
Let's see. It's not James Harden anymore. We're mad at him. No, it's definitely James Harden. It's got to be Harden. He'll be back in a couple years anyway. I'll keep telling myself that.
Okay.
Dylan's whole thing is that James Harden has only gone away for a little while, and then he'll come back to win Houston a championship like LeBron did.
Hopeful.
I like
Just a couple years. Just a couple
Be
years.
hopeful.
Let him get it. Let him get his ring, like Don Staley will this weekend, and yeah.
Subtly.
real subtle. For the record, my favorite Rocket.
SEC.
There you go. For the record, my favorite Rocket is 1,000% Stevie Franchise.
Oh.
So much
Are you
fun
a
to watch
Rockets fan?
on the court. No, I'm a Pelicans fan, but
Yes.
A close. I will say close second. Underrated. Some people might not know of this Rockets player, but it's definitely Amanda Smith.
Oh gosh.
Mount Rushmore. Mount
yeah,
Rushmore.
1,000%.
Hey, I'm gonna take it. I'm just gonna take the W and I'm gonna go.
There you go. Amanda, we thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We would love to have you back literally anytime. And, we'll have a lot to talk about next week if you're willing to join us again as we crown a champion.
Literally anytime. This is fun. I love, just catching up. But then also, it's kind of like you said, really important to me to play some small part in being able to elevate and promote women's basketball, because they're incredible people with incredible stories and games, and they need to be shared. So absolutely, I'm in.
We appreciate it.
Awesome.
Y'all can follow Amanda on Twitter @_it's Amanda Smith, and make sure you check out the How She Did It podcast. Oh, and can you tell us really quickly about the 1 in 5 podcast? I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. Really quickly, a friend of mine who was a student with me at Ball State. He played on the Ball State basketball team. I was a student reporter at the time. Our paths crossed in that way. In this next phase of life, it's funny to think back on. We've come back together to work on a project that is so important to both of us, and that is normalizing conversations around mental health within the sports community. So my co-host Trey Moses and I, we started a show called 1 in 5. 1 in 5 meaning that 1 in 5 Americans will struggle with their mental health each year, and it's normal. It's not uncommon. And we just wanted to create a space where people can come, they can share some of their stories, however much or little they want to. And if you're not there, maybe you just want to listen. But whatever it is, we want people to know first and foremost that you are seen, you are heard, and you are by no means alone.
So awesome. Thank you so much, Amanda. We really appreciate it. @_it's Amanda Smith. You can follow her on Twitter. Please go do it. Show some support. And then, of course, Dylan @Dilly Sanders on Twitter, myself @Ross Jacksonilla on Twitter. We'll be back with you tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Amanda will be back with us probably tomorrow. No, but at least hopefully next week. And we look forward to much more. Thanks, everybody.